It is getting harder and harder to find something to say in these intros that isn't, well, it's all going rather well. It's a bit boring after a while, doesn't it? It is, though. It really is. Hello, my name's Damien, I'm that Trucking Foot Manager, and welcome back to the Green Army of Europa. Happy Friday to you all. I hope it's a Friday. I'm not really sure if it's a Friday or not. If you're watching this in the future, it probably isn't a Friday, so probably shouldn't do that. There you go, that's punishment. Yeah, it's all going okay. We haven't played a hell of a lot of football, because obviously we don't want to just, as much as I want to progress, I don't want to just skip over our first European season, so we've played a couple of games. I will show you the details right now. Slick. You saw us lose 3-4 to Bodo Glimt. Over swearing. Lions, we beat 4-2 at home. Now, bear in mind that Jose Mari scored a 90 plus 2 and 90 plus 4 to make it 4-2. We hammered him. Did we have him at... We weren't there in 21, were we? No. No. The name sounds familiar, I don't know why. But yeah, so we hammered him. 90 plus 1, we made it 4-0. And somehow finished 4-2. I don't really know how. But it doesn't matter. We then played Levski Sofia, beat them 2-0 at home. Russell Stewart and Dylan Borke with the goals. There's another cool 500 grand. Lovely. Man 62, we beat 2-1 away, but look at the team sheet. That was a fully rotated team. Yes, we did have to bring on McGruer and Williams in about the 60th minute to make sure we were going to win it. And yes, it was a penalty from Peter Casey that won it in the end. But we played Man 62 with a fully rotated side, and we were fine. So that says something about the level of league competition. Even Jalen Hankins got a game, and you saw what he did against Glimt. Or Burda. Today we have Lincoln at home, and Levski Sofia away. That's a pair of games, isn't it? After this, we'll probably come back for Bodo Glimt and College, home and away, in that order. Because, yeah, like I say, it's going well, and we need to press on a little bit, because you guys are getting used to a season being only like 6 episodes long, and this is episode 6, so, and it's like early November. We've also played 2 internationals, and they both also went rather well. We beat Liechtenstein 4-0 and Latvia 5-1. We have won the group. It hasn't realised that yet. We've only got the one game left. It's against Liechtenstein. It has realised that. We are promoted as champions of that group because we are 3 points ahead of Latvia and we have a better head-to-head than Latvia. There's only one game left. They have to play... we both have to play Liechtenstein. But it doesn't matter if we lose and they win because we'll still be ahead of them on a head-to-head. So we have won Nations League Group D... Nations League D Group 2. Something like that. Very quickly, Ionton, Caetano, Williams and Hercules scored the 5 goals against Latvia, and Caetano, Ndukwu and Williams got 2 against Liechtenstein 4-0. They were easy wins. In fact, to be fair, you saw Liechtenstein, didn't you? I don't remember. But we beat Latvia 5-1. That's what matters. We'll go with that. Our national ranking has jumped to 177th, which is the record high. It does tend to be the record high nowadays. That's not what I wanted. I wanted the full graph. Well, this is the full graph here. As you can see, it climbs and climbs. And 177 is our ultimate peak. You'd like to think that in Group C we can do okay against some teams there. The fact that we absolutely mullered Latvia, to me, says a lot. We have a friendly against Lebanon before we play Liechtenstein. I'm not going to waste your time coming back for either of those. Like I say, we've won the group already. A friendly against Lebanon is not important, even though they are something like about 55th in the world rankings, and a win there will give us another big boost. No point you guys watching it. So that's about it, really. That's all that's changed. If we look at our competitions here, we can see that we are 3rd because we haven't played as many games. We have a slightly worse goal difference than College, and Man 62 played an extra game, even though they lost it because it was against us. I'm not worried about the league table at the minute. I am confident that we can win the league. I realise that is a little bit, what's the word I want? Over-complacent, perhaps? But that's fine. I'm still furious that the board are not judging me on my performance in the Conference League, even though it's quite good. Like, at the minute, we need to get a point off Bodo Glimt to go through. I think that's right. I'm pretty sure that's right, unless Astana turn everything around. I did get it right, clocking that Astana weren't nearly as strong a team as we thought they were. But, yeah, really, you look at our specific results in that. We beat Astana 3-1. We were incredibly, painfully unlucky against Glimt. And we beat Levski 2-0 comfortably. We should have won all 3 games. You'll agree with me there. You've seen them all. Well, you saw 2 of them, and obviously we did win the other one. I think you'll agree. I'd like to think, realistically, we need to be coming out of this group, which means we need to start thinking about where we end up. And I'm going to have a quick look. I haven't looked yet. Does it tell you after the group stage? No, it doesn't. But if we have a little poke around, let's pretend we're going to win this group, which means we'll play second place of another group. Is that how it works? No. If you win, you go into the second knockout round. I forgot about that. And you get another cool £500,000 quid. Either of those positions would be lovely, thanks. While we're talking about money, the board of directors have agreed to a few things for me. We are improving the youth recruitment. We are improving the youth facilities. We have a new contract. We went for senior affiliate, but no one wants it. We are improving the training facilities. Between those 2 jobs, it's about £1.5 million, I think. We're getting a technical director, more scouts, increased coaching budget. Now, the interesting one is scouting range, because I am sure that it came up and said, your scouting range is now all of Europe. But yet, I cannot change my scouting range on here. When I go player search, recruitment tier, I cannot select Western Europe. So I'll just keep nagging them. I think that's the easiest thing to do. Is it going to come up here? No, I can only decrease it. So I don't really understand what happened there. In fact, let's have a quick search of the inbox. Scouting. No, it doesn't go back far enough. Never mind. But yeah, so that's a minor inconvenience that I can't find the scouts, but I'm sure it'll come up again. There's £2 million in the bank after we've agreed to upgrade facilities. I mean, we did peak at 3.02, dropped to 2.11. We're going to get another £500,000 if we win each of those games. I'd like to think we're not going to lose all 3 Champions League groups. Conference League games. Sentences are hard. So you'd like to we could win them all, really. There's no reason that we've seen so far that we couldn't win all 3 of them. That's another £1.5 million. Suddenly, we're actually in really good shape financially, and we need to keep it that way. Yes, we did drop nearly £1 million there, but again, that is the money that was... In fact, it wasn't £1 million enough. It was that much. It was about just under £1 million. I think it was... Let's see if that story's in here. I don't think it will be again. No. I think it was about 600 and about 300. I think. I can't be certain. Either way, we're going to play some football. We've got Lincoln in the league first. This is obviously a big test. Not so much a big test as it is a big... it's going to be a big signpost for where we are. Are we able to comfortably beat them in a league situation? Fantastic question. We're going to play Heaton instead of Statham, even though they're roughly the same defender. In fact, having said that, slightly less fit versus slightly more match load. We're going to go with what we've got. Banda is in goal. Hankins is still on a naughty step after costing us £500,000. Mullen, O'Driscoll, Heaton and Beckwith at the back four, Swiderski and G in the middle, Stewart and Ndukwu on the wings, McGruer and Williams up top. It's our strongest team. Let's go see what it can do. It would be our strongest team if only we had enough Gibraltarians in the starting 11. Statham, mate, what are you? You're English. Well, what use are you then? It's going to be Olivero, isn't it? Ugh. Or Hernandez for G. Let's try that. That's better. What I just said, but Hernandez. Good. Glad you agree. A quick chat about the idea of going to 5 episodes a week. I am going to hold off on that decision because, first of all, the feedback was roughly 50-50. And I appreciate all of your feedback to say whether you can or can't keep up. But purely from a selfish analytical point of view, I still haven't turned this off. Come on, go away. Purely from the selfish point of view, I don't want the view count to tank because people can't keep up. And I know how hard it is to keep up. Aussie Villain knows how hard I find it to keep up because he's the one series I watch fairly religiously and I fell nearly 3 seasons behind at one point. And it is very easy to go, you know what, I'm not going to bother anymore. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to feel like a chore to keep up with this. I also don't want it to feel like a chore to make. And that's really important because obviously there comes a point, again, creators out there will know this, there comes a point where you're like, oh, I've got to go do another video. I don't ever want to be, oh, I've got to go do another video. I want to be, yes, let's go record. So just for now, we're sitting on 3 episodes a week. The other thing is, I know that Williams for Dink hits for crossbar on the way over. I know that I was very lucky over the last couple of weeks with the shifts I got. I got late shifts, which means I had a lot of daytime when the missus and the kid were out that I could record during. And obviously that's not going to be the case every week. So I'm going to hang fire because I don't want to commit to 5 a week and then fall behind. Those are all my excuses. I hope you liked them. And Dukwu, on the other hand, is through. Good tackle, but Swiderski finds Magruer. Can he tuck it away? Yes, he can. Of course he can. And by the way, we're like 3 games into the season. He's just scored his 15th goal. If that's not comical, I don't know what is. Magruer is a cheat code. And he's 20. Like, he is going to be... If we can convince him not to be Scottish... Like, obviously, he can get Gibraltarian second nationality and count towards our player counts and all that lot. But actually, he might be good enough to play for Scotland. Like, maybe in the fringes, obviously. But we need to try and convince him that he wants his international future with Gibraltar. Stewart, another Scot, to take this free kick. We're less fussed about him, if we're being honest. It's tipped over by Webb on the way, and it is currently all us. Stewart to take the corner. Drives it in, and it's volleyed away. It shouldn't really ever be allowed to drop all the way down to a volley, but never mind. Lincoln are now the side that we need to be grooming. We need to be trying to get players off Lincoln, because Lincoln have the only players left in Gibraltar who will make our side better. And I don't realise that's a big thing I just said, but it's true. For starters, we want players who are Gibraltarian homegrown status. So they have a few of those. They have Reno Hercules. They have Young Coombs, I think. A Player Forson, I'm pretty sure as well. I might be wrong. These are all players that we need because we need to meet that cap, and we are going to really start to hit the wall with that soon. We have some of the very best players in this country, and some of the only ones to come through youth systems here. Until our youth facilities are good enough, Williams tucks it in the bottom corner, off the post, on the way in. Lovely little finish. And the fact that I'm able to chat away about this suggests that we are looking very good against the best team, the formerly best team in the country. Doesn't it just? And let's face it, we won the league after giving them like an 8-point head start, didn't we, last year? So we should be winning it by 8 points this year, at least. Realistically, not going to lie, I will be disappointed if we drop any points this season. That's the level I think we're at in relation to the rest of the division. And I, again, realise that is high-level complacency. That is arrogance, frankly. Hubristic at best, arrogant at worst. But I think we should be doing that. Stewart puts the ball in front of Swiderski, brings it under control, and just drives it wide. And there will come a point, probably not desperately soon, but fairly soon, where I just stop showing you league football. There'll be no point. I might show you like the last game of the season just to prove a point. But there has to come a point, what a 45 minutes that is, you've blown them away. There has to come a point where the league is not what's important to us anymore. Some would argue that's now. If Lincoln didn't come here, this would, right in this gap in front of the Levski Sofia game, I probably... Is it Sofia? Or have I gone blank? Levski Sofia, whoever it is. If it hadn't come in right then, I probably wouldn't be playing a strong team right now, like I didn't against Man 62. We need to start actively farming for youngsters to train up for the first team and for the Gibraltarian national team. We need to start rotating more. And we need to start thinking about having 2 full squads. At least 2 full first 11s, which we don't really have yet. Hercules has come on. That's never a good sign. I feel like I missed half time. Probably because I was just chatting away. Or I pressed the wrong button or something. We're going to slide Ndukwu out to the right wing. We're going to take Stewart off for Oliveira, who can just about play that wing. And we're going to rest Swiderski, who's a very good midfielder, because we want him fit for the next one. Anyone else? I think we're good, aren't we? We'll leave the third sub. Pardon the coughing. I'll try and edit that out, but I'll probably forget. Walker to Toraj. A Player Forson. And again, it is so weird having these players playing against me instead of for me. Especially when they're wearing red. It's off-putting. Taraj down there, the number 30, just down by Beckwith. Again, if you can't see the word Taraj, you can't see a number 30 either. Is an Albanian who doesn't want to play for Gibraltar because he wants to play for Albania. I'm rather hoping still to convert him. He is as important a signing as Kurljevic would be, although I haven't actually asked him in a while. There does obviously come a point where you say, okay, fine, we're not going to get that player. But as we boost our national reputation, you would hope that there comes a point where players start turning to us. Williams is through, just finds the keeper's hands. Emmanuel Williams, again, he's more of a concern to me than Magruder, because obviously Magruder is not yet eligible for Gibraltar, but Williams, his finishing has become questionable lately. He had that great season for us for college, and he was reasonably good for us when we signed him here, but actually, he is not the dynamo that he used to be anymore. And Dukwu passes it back into the keeper's hands. There were 2 men over at the back post then. Conlon to take a corner now. Floated in towards the back stick. Magruder with the header, and he gets his 16th goal of the season. And frankly, if he's scoring goals, who cares if Williams is or not? But this all hangs on Magruder, A, staying and not having his head turned by a Scottish Championship side. Because let's face it, if you're playing in Gibraltar, even if you're playing European football, and Dundee United come along, it's going to be difficult to convince you to stay, isn't it? And let's face it, at this stage, Celtic could come along, I reckon. He's a good player. And he's scoring goals in Europe, reliably. As long as we can convince him to be Gibraltarian first, I don't mind too much. Because obviously, if he's playing at a higher level, he's better for the national team. But he doesn't get his citizenship for another very nearly a year. It's the summer of next season. That's a great tackle by Magloire. Maybe. But yeah, he doesn't get a citizenship till next year. And if he gets poached in summer by Celtic, that's really bad news all around. Anyway, probably time to make one more change. O'Driscoll and Mullen both looking tired. O'Driscoll's pretty much the only good centre-half we've got, so we'll hook him off for Statham. That'll be the third change. But again, we're resting players against Lincoln. Again, Rosa, Hercules. Is that a save or a crossbar? I'm not really sure what that was. Yeah, Rosa and Hercules in particular, I want. A Power Force, and I quite like. Apart from that, there's not a lot of their players that will make us any better. Not really. Our XG was 2.95 with 15 shots on target. Outstretched arms. Blow them away. And that's the thing, is that we now seriously do have to think, we just don't come back for league games anymore. We'll see how obviously we do in Europe, because if we get knocked out in the group stage now, which I'm rather talking as if it's never going to happen, but if we get knocked out in the group stage now, we are coming back for league games, because there'll be nothing else. Anyway, I'll be back for Levski Sofia in just a minute. We have good news and bad news, and it's all about Magruder. Firstly, we've convinced him to sign a 4-year contract extension here. So he's here for the long haul. And anyone who wants him is going to have to pay through the nose for him, and I'm talking in the millions. Bad news is that he did actually, I was wrong, his homegrown status changes in August, but his actual nationality has changed. And he flat rejected the call-up. Not even can we have a conversation about it? I'm not really sure. Convince me. Just like, nope, I want to play for Scotland. I don't want to play for you. It's bad news. I also went off of Van Kurljevic, and the exact same conversation that happens every time happened. We talked about it, and he said no. And I went off and found Tiraj, same deal. We talked about it, and he said no. So I'll pick the squad for the next set of games. They shouldn't be too difficult. Lebanon at home in a friendly, and then Liechtenstein away, I think. Not a big struggle. We've already won the group anyway, doesn't matter. But that's the exact opposite problem to what we had with San Marino. With San Marino, we could not nationalise a player at all, no matter who. Whereas here, we can nationalise a player quite easily and quickly. Very easily and quickly, really. But that doesn't help if they don't want to play for you. Inconvenient, but never mind, we move on. Banda is in goal because Hankins is still on a naughty step. Mullen, O'Driscoll, Statham and Thomas are the back four because Beckwith is injured. Swiderski and Conlon in the midfield too, but not that way round. There we go. Stewart and Ndukwu are the wingers. Magruder and Williams are up top. This is Luke Reese. I'll introduce you to him. We're considering signing him as a centre-forward. The only reason I wouldn't is because I'm not sure we need another centre-forward. He was a Hull City boy once upon a time, but he moved to TNS, which means Ozzy Villian probably loves him. Determination very high. He's 24 though. Is that going to help a lot? I don't know. Finishing and composure are not great. His first touch and heading are pretty damn good. His pace is good. Despite being 6'1", his jumping reach isn't very high. I don't know. I took him on a 4-week trial. He absolutely hammered the Welsh Premier, it would appear. Like 17 and 28, 20 and 32, 16 and 28. He's been scoring goals for fun, 76 and 147 over his career. That's not exactly a terrible return. That's more than one every two. But I don't know if we need him, simply enough. I mean, we don't want to sign him and then play him at the expense of someone like Borke, who, by the way, should be on the bench instead of Morgan. I suspect we won't, because we don't really, at the minute, it's an odd sentence for a Football Manager player to come out with, I realise, but bear with me. We don't really, at the minute, need to improve our side. The kind of team that's going to beat us in Europe is going to hammer us in Europe no matter who we've got. And we should be winning, like I said before, we should be winning the league comfortably. We should be winning the cup comfortably. We should be winning everything domestically. So the next time we'll need a stronger side, really, is for the Champions League qualifiers next year. I realise there are a lot of assumptions in there. But... And even then, it's not a small change that we'd need. We'd need a sea change. And we cannot find the players to do that. We can find a player here and there who might improve our side. But if we start doing that at the expense of national team players, we're kind of sawing off one leg to use the other. So, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest with you. You probably gathered that for however many years you've been watching this channel. The other thing is, we need to start looking at giving other clubs in our division money. That's one of the big things. It's not just us. We're not going to turn Gibraltar into a world-class nation on our own, no matter how far we get in the Champions League. We need to take other clubs around us, possibly not Lincoln, because, rivals, but, teams like College, who we've already done some of the work building up, we need to take them and boost them on, and we're going to do that best as McGrew mugs off someone with a lot of consonants in his name, but then blasts it over the top. We're going to do that by buying players off them for far too much money. And that's more difficult to do in this game than it has been before, because there comes a point when the board goes, hang on, you're not spending that on him. And the guy with the consonants has scored a goal. I didn't even take the piss out of him. I could have quite easily taken the piss out of him, and I didn't. So you didn't need to go and score against me, did you? This is probably the game that we need least to win, if that makes sense. We need to beat Bodo. That's the game that matters. We have looked poor here, but we're away in Bulgaria, where, again, a lot of our players might not realise where they even are. What was that? Get your acts together. That's the spirit. Start the second half. We'll demand more. Ultimately, we've been beaten in the air from across. That can happen any time. But we haven't looked great in attacking sides. Thomas throws into Williams, knocks it back to Stewart, and Williams will eventually turn and get that. Drives in a low cross, and McGrew is under it. That's number 17, folks. 17 goals. The referee's already run off. That's usually a good sign, right? And we're back in this one. And it's a good assist from Williams, who does well to recover, it has to be said. As Stewart plays a pretty wayward pass out the wing. I don't really know. He was trying to find Thomas and just missed him. But that low cross, and McGrew gets there first. Their goalkeeper, I don't really know what he's trying to do there. Well, he's not really trying to do anything. We could do with an Astana win in the other game, just to open that gap a little bit more. Because the last thing we want to do is finish third. There's nothing to parachute into. Stewart takes a free kick, and he can do it. Hits the post this time. And McGrew finds it at his feet, tucks it in for number 17. And can we have £470,000, please, UEFA? Because we want to win this one as well. And again, that money, every win is worth £500,000. Every draw is worth 150 grand. That's a year's, easily a year's income every match. And that's what we need to turn, ultimately, eventually, to build a stadium. Don't know where they're going to put it, but they might find a bit of do it like the Japanese and just build like a floating island. Don't know. But yeah, I did actually ask. The first thing I asked when that £2.5 million came in was for a stadium, just out of curiosity, just to see how much they rejected it. And they didn't reject it for financial reasons; they rejected it for attendance reasons, which is fair. And ultimately, the big advantage we've got over a lot of saves like this is that we can host our own European football because the Gibraltar Stadium is UEFA approved. Because it's also the national stadium. Banda saves it on the goal line, but Tonev is there to tap it into the empty net, and we're back to 2 each. I don't think we can blame Banda too much for that. Can we? Do you want to blame Banda for that? Could he have done better? Could anyone have? Or Statham could be in front of his man instead of behind him. That would probably help. Penalty cross comes in. No, the goalkeeper's done all he can there. Maybe he could have been nearer his front post and put it out for a corner, but that's picking. That's really picking him apart, isn't it? Bodo Glimt Astana remains 0-0. We're going to do a little demand more. Thomas going to throw into Swiderski and back to Thomas. Back to Statham and back to Thomas. And he just waits and gets himself tackled. That's poor. That's very, very poor. He looked offside. Tuntev looked offside to me. Referee's running in the correct direction for that decision. But it's VAR, and who on earth knows when it comes to VAR? Oh, that's a result. We want that. That's good. Thank you, please. Yeah, I did think it wasn't desperately close. Banda does just sort of sit down. So what we're going to do is we're going to say he's all line the flag go up. That's what we're going to say. Sonev to take a free kick, and it's a good one. Banda makes the save, I think. Yeah, it looks like we're lining up for a corner. We're going to make some changes after this corner. Sonev to drive the ball in. And it's a good save from Banda. We'll make some changes after the next corner. Sonev once again. And that one's headed away by Swiderski. And goes for a throw. Now's a good time as any. If the highlight is over, at least. What we're going to do, we're going to say Borke on for Williams. We're going to say Eonton. No, we're going to say G on for Swiderski. And we're going to say Olivero on for Mullen. Those are the 3 changes we're going to make. 20 to play. Just most of them for fitness reasons. Borke just to shake it up front a bit. Because he can do stuff sometimes. Tuntev turns and shoots and, well, you can't do a lot against one of those, can you? So we'll chuck a demand more out there as soon as we're allowed to. We'll fall behind Levski Sofia, but to be fair, I thought I'd clocked Levski Sofia as the biggest team in the group to begin with. And Banda doesn't do very well with that. We're looking at the referee again, but I don't think that one's wrong. I think that's a goal. Oh, really? Okay. I wonder why. I thought he was well onside then. Shows what I know. Well, that's a result. Now we can go very attacking and try and concede another goal. Shoot on sight. Stop playing out there. Stop. Keep passing into space. Stop distributing somewhere. Stop taking short kicks. Distribute quickly. And get right up in their faces. And let's face it, if we lose 4-2, it doesn't really matter, does it? Oh, hang on. Bodo are winning. Oh, goals on 74 and 76. And suddenly, we're not looking so good to get out of his group anymore. And we have lost it 3-2. Should have won it, really. But they were clinical. Our wingers didn't turn up. Did enough to deserve victory. We're predicted by many to have been beaten heavily. We can be very happy with what we did. Conlon, shut up. Conlon was a fine game. Had a fine game. 2 goals in 2 minutes for Bodo mean that we have dropped out of the qualifying places at the minute. But we have to play Astana and Bodo yet. So all we have to do, beat them. And we've done it already. And they both have to play Levski. So I don't think we're in trouble yet. But with that in mind, we're going to pop back probably for Bodo Glimt and College 75. Those will be the 2 games we come back for. And I'll see you there on Monday. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this one, please do like, sub up if you are new. And I'll see you next week. Have a splendid weekend. Bye-bye.